Welcome back to the High Ticket AI Systems Podcast. Everyone, please welcome the one and only Mrs. Amina Gajieva. Amina, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hi, Jordan. Hi, everybody. And thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy we're doing this finally, and I can't wait. I can't wait to kick it off.
Absolutely, yes. We are very, very blessed to have you on the show as you. I'm very excited myself. Now, really quick, because I know you're not in the States or even in North America right now. So do you mind sharing a bit about the geographical location and a high level overview of you in the company?
Of course, I'm Amina. Hi, everybody, again. And originally, I'm from Russia. And yeah, 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, I actually started my PR agency, influencer marketing agency in the States, in Florida. And that's where my clients are. That's where my job is. That's the time zone that I work in. Like my life is happening in Florida, but physically I am traveling around a lot. And currently, right now, I'm in Russia. And yeah, I'm in this business in marketing for 8 years. And I was working for a lot of companies, a lot of brands, a lot of agencies in London, in LA, in Manchester. I was working in China, in South Korea. So yeah, life kind of was throwing me around. And yeah, 2 years ago, when I decided to start my agency, yeah, I just picked the country where the majority of my network connections and people that I know and brands that I know were located, which is the States, and that's where my heart is basically, along with my business. So yeah, that's just to give you like a very brief overview.
No, for sure. When it comes to finding, I guess, ideal clients, is it primarily networking in person, shaking hands? I imagine you're pretty good at it.
Thank you. Actually, for this type of business, or maybe it's just the way it works for me, but yeah, all the clients that we have are purely network connections, referrals, and one thing that that I also like, it's not that I'm bragging or showing off, but we never invested a single dollar in marketing or sales, and all the clients that we have, they are just people knowing what I do and recommending my service to one another. So that's how we got all the clients. And just recently, I decided that okay, network is not an endless source, so we have to find other ways to acquire clients and find and make new connections. And we started investing some effort and some little money into sales, but yeah, it's a pretty good way to explore and find your channel, because for some businesses paid ads work great. For some businesses it's just offline events, so you really have to find your way. And for us, yeah, for 2 years it was just networking, me talking to people, because I found it one of the most effective ways for us to find clients is me actually connecting with people and yeah, annoying them with a lot of conversation, with a lot of questions and talking. But it works great. But yeah, we are currently exploring other tools and other ways, and I'm excited about it, to be honest, because there's so much to explore yet. And I'm sure that by the end of this year we will find another like strong channel that we can find clients through. And yeah, we'll see how that goes.
No, networking and relationships are extremely powerful, especially because of
Absolutely.
nowadays. I mean, I'm super grateful that, we're here on the podcast and we do have the ability to do it remotely. But there's nothing beats, shaking someone's hand, getting feeling the energy in person, like building that in-person trust. For me, whenever I go to in-person events, I feel like I see a spike in revenue sales, which is
Yeah.
always super cool because of that trust that I built. But just to close the loop here, relationships, like the more hands you shake, the more, obviously the more money that you'll make. It is always a thing I learned in business, and I feel like networking events or just networking in general, it's never going to go wrong. It's always a benefit and a powerful thing to do.
Absolutely.
When you say you own a PR agency and influencer marketing company, can you give us like some examples of like the industries and the like verticals you help?
Absolutely. Well, we started as an influencer marketing agency 2 years ago, and we provided only influencer marketing service. So, what we did is basically we connected brands, our clients, with influential people, influencers, opinion leaders, celebrities. So, whatever you see on social media, like a link in a bio, that kind of thing, we were doing that. But recently, I for our long-term clients, like in-house, internally, we were also providing some PR services, like for free, like additional perks, like a bonus. And it would be like a media coverage or articles or podcast appearances, maybe some PR event support, something like that. So, and then maybe like a month ago, because now when we, started talking to a lot of additional brands and we started expanding our network, of course, a lot of conversations started happening with brands. And after talking to them, I just realized that not everybody needs influencer marketing. And I cannot sell influencer marketing to somebody when I know that that person doesn't need it. So I cannot even spit it out, like you need influencers because they don't. So I felt guilty. And of course, I don't know, maybe I'm being too human about it.
Damn you! I'm kidding, but
But
oh, you're
yeah,
right, you're right.
I just realized that it doesn't make sense. And plus, my goal when I have a client, my goal is to keep them long term, and to do that, in order to do that, you need to provide value long term as well. And if I know that, okay, this channel, influencer marketing, is not gonna deliver long term, it's gonna be just one time success, maybe not a big one, still just a little bit, and then I will lose that client, and I will lose that connection. And it's super valuable. You know that how valuable each connection is. You have to nurture it. So, and then I started thinking, okay, what else I can do for brands to help them grow. I cannot just, start offering something that that I'm not familiar with, just in order to offer something. And we sat down with my team and we started thinking about, okay, what other expertise we have, what our skills, what our skill set is, like what else we can offer. And yeah, we started analyzing everything that we were doing for our long-term clients, all the events that we managed and planned and executed for them, all the articles and everything. And we were doing a lot of PR for our company as well. And yeah, and we came up with this idea that PR is something that it's not getting old. It's just changing a lot. Like anything, influencer marketing included, it's changing too. So you just have to adapt to it. And by that time, we had a lot of resources, we had a lot of connections in that industry and experience, some case studies. So we were ready. We were ready to offer something new, something that we haven't offered before, but still valuable to our clients. And yeah, that's how expansion happened. Of course, at the beginning, when we just started expanding and telling our long-term clients or old connections what we do, it was like, Jesus Christ, I have to go over that again and again. Introduce the company all over again. Oh my god. And then there is a website that you have to change, then case study. And then at some point, to be honest with you, I was like, "No, was it a good idea though to do that?" But now when I see that, okay, we have a couple new companies joining us as clients, and we do PR, we do something absolutely different for them. And that's so exciting that we can help them through something that we haven't done before, like externally. There was not a service like that before. And yeah, that's how we expanded. And I believe that, yeah, at the beginning it was a little bit of a headache for me, especially a couple of sleepless nights and all that. We went through all of it, but yeah, now we are, doing everything that we can and everything that we're good at, and hope that yeah, more clients will benefit from that, of course.
You said that PR has changed over the past few years. What do you feel like has changed the most?
Platforms. Everything is going online, obviously. And PR, maybe 10 years ago, maybe even like 5 years ago, it was not so much in the digital world. And even the articles back in the days, there was no such thing as a backlink. There was no, if there's an article, there's an article. If there's a press release, there's a press release. Now, all the media coverage, you can include backlinks. You can get some traffic to your website. Back in the days, it was like, it was not in practice. People didn't practice it that much. So, and a lot of changes like this, they are happening. And if back in the days we could walk around and see giant billboards, we still see them, but do they sell? How can you measure? How can you track how many people saw, how many people bought just looking at that billboard? Now everything is possible. And You can use the same billboard, but there's a little QR code that you have, and you can track how many people actually scanned it and how many people actually saw that. Back in the days, it was not possible. There was a billboard, good, yeah, but you cannot. There's That's it. You see it, and then the other side, the brand, they cannot track if you came after you saw the billboard. And that's the change that I see. Now everything is measurable in PR, especially. PR was the least manageable channel back in the days. Now it's getting more and more measurable. You can really track and calculate return on investment. That's something that we also implement. We implemented that before, I mean, when we started, and now it's just also a strong part of our service. So yeah, PR, I would say, even if it's still offline, you can still track it. Back in the days, it was not possible. And I honestly, back then, I was not involved that heavily in PR, and I always questioned myself, like, why would people, like, how you pay a lot of money to have your ad on the billboard, but what do you do with that? I mean, my mind is so about numbers and all the spreadsheets and the formulas and the return on investment. I think, yeah, that's how my brain works now. So for me, it's actually interesting, and that's a little research that I do on my own when I have free time, which is at night because I the rest of the day is busy. But yeah, I'm doing this little research, and yeah, if you're interested, I can share that with you a little bit later in a couple of weeks.
I was gonna say, what are your findings? But yeah, we can circle back to that for sure.
Of course.
I mean, think about the case studies that you have, right? Like, whenever you pair up verticals and the type of PR or the type of influencer marketing that you did for them. Can you give us, like, 1 or 2 examples? I guess the info that I want to extract is, like, this specific campaign for this specific company performed well because of XYZ, just to see if we can help out any other influencer marketing company out there.
Of course, there is one campaign we did for a Chinese brand, and I'm proud of it, honestly. Okay, so those are the best, right? The ones that you're proud of. So uh, you know, I was working with this Chinese client, and they are big in China, but they wanted to launch in the States. It's a LED face mask, and they really wanted to launch that, the creepy looking one. And they really, you've seen those, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I have one actually. They gifted to me.
Yeah, I know a bunch of girls that I would, yeah.
I can take a picture and then we can put it on a thumbnail or something.
I like that, good idea.
I work in marketing. So, yeah, so they wanted to launch in the States, and they came to us, and they came to us and they said, "Okay, we have this expensive product. It's over $300, so it's pretty expensive. And we are ready to give it away, to just send it to influencers for free, but we are not ready to pay additional fee." And I was like, okay, that's a challenge, but we love challenges. And they really wanted to go big, like we want hundreds of influencers to wear our mask in like random places, everywhere at the airport, in the shower. I was like, okay, but calm down. Let me do this. And nice team, really. I loved working with them because they're so, driven and passionate about their product. So it's always nice to work with this kind of people. So anyway, I came up with this campaign. I was like, okay, we have an expensive product and we have no fee for influencers. So I came up with this ambassador program. So what it meant is, like, everybody knows ambassador program, that you post, you get a product for free, you don't get paid, but then you post about it. You have a you have your custom link, and then whoever buys from your link, you get a commission. That's a standard strategy. But in my head, and I started thinking as an influencer, okay, they send me this product. Am I motivated enough to post about it? Like 10% from each sale? It's like what, $30, 30 something bucks? Maybe, I don't know, maybe my mind is too materialistic, or maybe I was making enough money, so $30 wasn't sexy for me. And I was like, okay, we need to come up with this. We need to make it more exciting for influencers. So my idea was that after they post with the link, if they sell one or two products, they get 10% from each sale. If they sell three products, three, four, they get 15%. If they sell more, five and more, they get 25. I think it was 20 or 25%. And after they sell the fifth product, they get 100%. And that was a fire. We were so proud of that campaign because it delivered. So okay, we sent a lot of products. It was over 300 ambassadors on board, And all of them, they made $2.4 million in return on investment. $2.4 million. My gosh. And they didn't pay any fee to influencers, nothing. It was just a product exchange. And influencers, they started making, quite some money. We had like a pool of 20 something ambassadors. They like really strong. And they were selling constantly every month, like 10, 15, 20 products each influencer. So that that model that I had, that structure, actually worked really really great. And then that brand, the same brand, they launched another product for sport people, and they came back to us and they're like, we want the same success for this product too. And yeah, we did another campaign, but it's a whole other story.
You said for sports people?
Yeah, it's like a LED panel, like for muscle pain relief.
I definitely need one of those, dude. I feel like my body's always sore, you know?
Oh, we'll talk about it after. I'll tell you something you need to know.
For sure, for sure. Were you the mastermind behind that commission structure? Because for me, if you want people to work with you, if you want people to just, I guess, do what you want them to do from a business perspective, like you gotta incentivize them well, right? And if there's
Of
zero
course.
incentivization past the first sale, like if I'm gonna earn 10%, regardless of how many I sell, sure, I'm incentivized, but like you said, I'm like, it's only $30. But the more I sell, the more I'm incentivized now. Like if I'm a driven person, I'm gonna
Yeah.
want more, right?
Yeah.
I I'm a big believer that your composition structure or compensation structure, excuse me, compensation structure should be it should attract A players. And typically, A players want to get rich. Like they just want to make as much money as humanly possible, right? So if you can design that for them, you'll attract top
Of
talent. Thoughts
course.
on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice perspective. I totally agree with you. And of course, that structure worked really great with the type of influencers that we were working with, because I'm a strong believer in smaller influencers when it comes to sales. So, selling with big influencers is a little bit harder, because the only thing that sells in influencer marketing is the connection that influencers have with their audience. And I always teach that our clients. I always explain that, because they come to me and they're like, we want influencers with millions of followers, and we want them to sell to big group of people. Like, it's not. It doesn't work that way. Big influencers, they're good for brand awareness, and they will never say yes to this commission structure. They don't care, right? Big influencers, they make a lot of money from each collaboration they have, and they will never say yes to this kind of structure. So for big influencers, when, for example, I work with a brand and they tell me, okay, even for big influencers, we don't have a budget. I'm like, okay, but are you willing to share, revenue, but like a big portion of your revenue from the sales, or maybe equity? Some startups, for example, that I worked with, they shared equity with one big influencer. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say his name, but he's really big in health industry, and they really wanted to have him on board, so we onboarded the guy. But he's like, I don't care about your commission, I don't care about your fee, I want equity. And they gave him equity.
Honestly, smart play on the influencer's part to take equity. Kind of because I come from a strong sales background, and this is like how I can relate to it. There's really two options in sales. It's like a base, like W-2 plus commission, or 100% commission. And essentially, you get paid less commission whenever you take a base. But if you trust yourself, and it sounded like this influencer marketer person trusted his ability to go out there and sell more products, he was like, fuck that. I want profit. I want equity. And you got yourself like that, like hell yeah, you want more commission or more upside. So hats off to him. Did they accept
Yeah,
that offer? They did.
absolutely.
Super.
Absolutely. And yeah, it works great with startups, because that's how they worked with me. For example, it was a different company, and I also had equity. I didn't have salary. Yeah, I also asked for equity.
Look at you, nice.
Well, I was also smart. I was. And then
Now not so much. No, I'm kidding. I'm
no.
kidding.
So yeah, they accepted it, but it's not just for a post. When you share equity with an influencer, with someone big, they come on board as advisors. So because he is a big guy in this health industry, men's health industry. So he is a doctor. He is very knowledgeable guy. So joined the team as advisor, and we were, developing an app for men's health. And he was, telling that, okay, this is what I talk to my audience. I talk to, people in the industry, and he would, provide some insights. And those insights were used in app development. So it's that kind of role. And sometimes he would mention the app on his social media as well, because he's on board now. He's a part of a team, so it's not just for posts. So yeah, with bigger influencers, you of course you have to be flexible. You have to provide different options, because they are in this industry forever and they've done it all and they know what works for them. They are very picky, which I like, to be honest. So whenever they say yes to you, it means a lot, and it means that this collaboration will be profitable for both sides. But you have to, like for employees, you have to be sexy as an employer. You have to provide benefits. And yeah, the same with big influencers. With smaller influencers, yeah, that commission structure worked perfect. But we, of course, we realized when they came back to us and they said, we want influencers. And okay, we have a lot of small influencers. Now we want, like celebrity influence. I was like, for commission, no way. So, and they didn't want to, I'm talking about that Chinese product. And they, so the whole thing, the whole campaign was just small influencers. Big influencers, it's a totally different story. You have to keep your mind open. You really have to listen and provide, what they're asking for. Of course, you have to meet in the middle, but it's a totally different collaboration.
I think what you're describing on the smaller influencer scale, like micro influencers, where they have like 10,000,
Yeah.
less like 50,000. I guess how many followers do you have to be considered micro versus like I'm famous? Fuck off.
Wow. Okay. Small influencers, like if we're talking about micro influencers, is between 5,000 to 50K, 100K, something like that. Of course, a lot depends on other metrics. It's not just followers. The metrics that we check, and that's the first thing that we check, is engagement rate, of course. So that is more important for us. And if you, yeah, in order to be a celebrity influencer, you have to, yeah, a million and plus. So yeah, and in between, it's mid tier, something like that.
Would you rather be famous or rich?
Rich, of
That was
course.
a random question. Okay, cool, cool, cool.
What about you?
Yeah, I give a fuck about fame. Yeah. That's good. Okay, cool.
I don't know if I can handle fame though.
Why not? What do you mean?
Well, I
Like
was.
being on the spotlight all the
I
time?
don't know. I don't. Okay, that's a good question though. Okay, but how can you monetize your fame? Well, how would you do that?
Well, you can take equity in the company. Like, oh, you can be an influencer marketer.
You smart, Jordan. Okay, okay. I changed my mind. I want fame.
I think when you are famous, I think you have more leverage in different ways. Meaning, because you are famous, you might be able to like cut the line or like get dinner reservations at an XYZ restaurant when there's no reservations here. When as an example, right? When you're rich, but no one really like knows that you're famous or no one knows that you're rich. Not that you're ordinary. I'm sure like your appearance, like the watch that you're wearing, car that you like drive and pull up in, that might, give subtle ideas that this person might be famous, like definitely rich. I don't know. I actually don't like the spotlight. I did playing baseball as a kid. Nowadays, I feel like I'm a systems and processes kind of guy. I mean, I do love marketing and sales. I do like because I have to, but I really think that I'm like a behind the scenes guy, if that makes sense. I am curious though, from a business front, when you are reaching out to these micro influencers or even like celebrities, do you have an approach that you like to stick with that is like genuine, human, and just like any approach at all really that you would love to share? Because like for marketing, when you are trying to sell a product via DM or sell a product over the phone or over cold email, there's like certain principles and philosophies that I think one should stick to in order to be successful, just like any process at all.
Yeah.
Do you have any like approach or
Of course, absolutely. With I like I have two different ways, and my approach is different depending on the size of an influencer. For example, with smaller influencers, I like joining little communities here and there. It's like, sorry, it's for example, it's a group chat on Instagram, or um now it's my network. I have worked with so many influencers that it's just my my giant group chat and I can reach out to them. So I am they are familiar with what I do in brands that I work with. So whenever I reach out, so yeah, it's like, it's a personal connection already. So and with bigger influencers, of course, it's slightly different. And I know a couple of managers. They manage big influencers, and I can reach out to them. And with bigger influencers, there are a couple of layers that you have to go through in order to sign a deal. But with bigger influencers, it's very important to maintain that connection. With smaller influencers, they remember everybody that they worked with because it's not, their schedule is not overloaded, so they remember. Bigger influencers, you can get lost like this. So with bigger influencers, it's important to stay in touch, to maintain a relationship, to attend, events that they attend, and just stay in touch with them. And whenever you reach out to them, you really have to think carefully, like, okay, this brand that I'm gonna, you know, talk about with this influencer, is it gonna resonate with them? Is it gonna be beneficial for them? Because big influencers, you have to remember that when you work with them, big influencers really care about who they work with. They are super cautious because one wrong move, done. Their career is done. So they're careful. And whenever you're about to offer a deal, even to a manager, you still have to think like 3 times, 4 times. Is it gonna resonate with their audience? Is it gonna be beneficial for them? What you're offering? And with bigger influencers, yeah, you treat it more like a business partnership, and you have the same approach when you reach out to them. You don't just say, "Hey, there is this deal that I want to talk to you about." No, it's like there's this brand, and they really want to have you on board at whatever capacity you're feeling comfortable with, and at whatever capacity you can be, you can join. So yeah, you send all the information, and it's like a business proposal rather than just a collaboration opportunity. And yeah, with smaller influencers, it's a bit easier because not because they don't care who they work with, but because they don't have that, lineup of brands, and they are, they are more open to opportunities. They are more flexible. It's not a bad thing. Again, I love working with small influencers. With bigger influencers, it's more like a business, and also with bigger influencers, you have to start. For example, if I have a campaign, if I have a deal that we need to sign, a certain influencer for, by the end of the year, I reach out to a big influencer at the beginning of the year because they already have a lineup of brands that they work with. So you have to start ahead. You cannot reach out like a month before Black Friday, like, "Hey, do you want this deal?" No, of course, even if they do, there's no, the schedule is done, it's packed. So yeah, it's more like a business conversation rather than a collaboration opportunity.
Gotcha. Cool. Thanks for the insights. Now, when it comes to networking in person, I wanted to circle back. Do you have any philosophy and principles there? And I guess when you are trying to network with a potential client, I most people approach pretty girls, so I feel like for you it'd be pretty easy. But whenever you have to, I guess, approach the person that you would like to speak with, is there anything that you say or anything that you find successful with?
Well, if it's an offline, let's say it's a conference that I go to.
Exactly.
I Of course, I do my research before I go there. I check the guest list because usually it's available, publicly available. I check and I do my research on speakers, and I select the ones that I want to talk to. And you already know what they're gonna talk about if they're gonna be, on stage, making a speech. So so I do my research. I select people that I want to connect with, and then I go to that conference. And whenever they are done speaking, yeah, I just approach them. I don't know. I'm kind of fearless when it comes to that, so I don't shy away. So I just approach them, and I whatever resonated with me from their speech, I just highlight that and compliment that. You have to be sincere. If there is nothing, you cannot just make things up because they start asking questions. Oh, what exactly resonated? And you're like,
So funny.
I have a cat. You
Okay,
cannot.
so
Yeah,
you're
it's a
just
research.
bold. Got you, got you. So be bold, be confident, but more importantly, be authentic, right? Be sincere. Understood.
What about you? Do you have a tip? Like a
For networking,
Yeah.
yeah, I think genuine compliments always go a long way. It's a pretty easy icebreaker. I mean, for
Absolutely.
guys, I could say, "Dude, I like your shoes, man. Where'd you get those shoes at?" I can just talk about anything else after that point. With women, like nails or hair, or if we're at a business setting and, like, they gave something of valuable,
Yeah.
like they gave something of value, like if they spoke, then yeah, I can definitely compliment, like, what their speech was about. But if it's someone that
Hmm.
didn't give a talk and I still wanna network with them,
You
yeah, if
compliment
like
the hair.
if it's a woman, yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Does it work though?
Does it work? I mean, from my experience, yeah. It also just depends on, like, the person as well, you know? Some women like it, some women don't, but
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You have to read the room. You have to, if there's I know it sounds creepy, but what I always do, for example, if there's a person and there is no speaking happening and it's like a networking event and I want to approach somebody, it's creepy, but you really have to pay attention to that person, their body language, their confidence.
I'm gonna stalk him really, really quick.
You really have to like read the room, the energy, if they're open to a conversation, and if there is something that they, it's like it's something about the energy, the confidence, and because sometimes people and when it's like a public event, they tend to not talk and just be shy and just they close a little bit. So you really have to you cannot approach. Hey, do you have a cat? Do you have like where did you go for vacation? So you really have to. You, the scripted icebreakers they don't work. You have to, of course you have to have them, but before you approach somebody it's nice to kind of analyze that person's behavior and then just play off that. Something that I'm practicing too. Yeah, it's creepy, I know. I'm sorry guys. It's
No,
just a good.
really fun. And I also feel like guys are just well, I'm like a bro, okay? So, like, for me, I think it's just easy to network with guys, like, I compliment their shoes and they're like, "Oh my god, thank you so much." You know what I
And
mean?
it starts like that, right?
It's just easy. For women,
Yeah, I agree. With guys it's easier for me too. Yeah, just
yeah, I wonder why.
shocking, shocking.
But okay, so I know you travel all over the world, which is super badass. I am not. I mean, I want to be like that, but I am a workaholic, so it's like it's hard. So talk to us about like the events in London versus the events in like the States. Are there any differences, or like people are just people? I expect like we can talk about cultural differences.
Oh, of
You're in
course.
Russia right now, which is
I actually have two like very, very different examples. Events in London and my conference that I did, I planned and organized in South Korea. So it's two different parts of the world.
holy
So
shit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Talk to us about that.
yeah. Okay. London. Gosh, you need a lot of icebreakers. God. Oh my God. You need a lot of icebreakers. And it was a customer development interviews that I was doing. So I was interviewing a lot of people to get some information on products that they use, like apps for their like banking applications that they're using. So we can get information what they liked, what they didn't like, and then based on that develop our application. So that was the type of event that we were running. And yeah, in London it's not easy.
People are just like not
It
assholes, but just don't
it's
want to
not
talk.
it's not easy to break the ice and to make them open up to talk, to have this conversation flow. You really have to because I when I talk and when I interview somebody, I prefer listening over talking. So I keep my mouth shut and I just let another person talk. And in London it didn't work. No, I had to talk a lot because they give you a short answer and then they just stare at you and you're like,
They don't ask you a follow-up question because
and
that
then
shit
and then
pisses
your brain is
off.
like, I know, I have that monkey in my head like I don't have anything else to say. So first two interviews, gosh, I was panicking because my strategy just failed. It just crumbled in front of me. I was like, it was working before. And then I started using my, charisma that I just pulled out of nowhere. And I was being such an actress. Nothing worked. And then I just realized that okay, they are it's great people, really nice, welcoming, but you just have to give them more time and you have to ask them specific questions. So your vague, brief questions about the weather, and the office, and it doesn't work. You have to answer. They don't do the small talk kind of crap. They are not interested in that. And that resonates with me because I am from Russia and we don't do small talks. It doesn't exist in our culture. So our small talk is about childhood trauma, philosophy, psychology. So this is our small talk.
I
Heavy.
love it. Yeah,
We
I
play
love it.
heavy. And yeah, I just realized that okay, with them it's kind of the same. So I just had to go back to myself. And I just once I pulled out that Russian side of me and I started asking like deep questions, not just about application, but actually like I started connecting technical questions to emotional side, like asking them about not just what features in your applications do you like. No, it doesn't work with them. What feature would actually make your life easier? So you just reframe the question and then, they open up like that. So that was, oh my gosh, that was stressful. The first two interviews, my God. Me and my colleague, we were sweating. And then South Korea, they just don't talk.
Very, very, like, to themselves, shy not shy
Yeah,
culture, but to themselves culture, for sure.
I love their culture. I love those people, but I did this event, so I invited a lot of business owners, marketing experts, decision makers. I had three speakers, including me, keynote speakers, and then I was like, okay, three people is enough. And then we stopped talking, and then we just do this brunch because there was catering, food, and we just network. And the third speaker, she finished her speech, everybody clapped, and I was like, no, talk, people. Talk to one another. I actually had to go from each person to another person. It's like, I remember you are doing, and oh my gosh, I don't remember what they were doing, but I had to really flex my brain cells and everything. And I was like, okay, you do this. I know that there's this person in this room and you should connect. And I started connecting people. And cultural difference is that it's in South Korea, if you want people to talk at your event or any event, you have to remember that they talk to each other first, and only then they go and talk to foreigners. And I was a foreigner. A lot of people were foreigners. So that we were like, so we have to talk to one another. But it's, again, it's not because they're shy. It's because it's in their culture to respect each other's, personal space. And they just give each other a lot of time to get used to one another in the same room. So first, after we were done speaking, the first 30 minutes was kind of cold, but I had that venue rented until like 4 p.m. And at 3 p.m., closer to the end, we couldn't just kick them out because they started talking to one another and they just were exchanging insights and questions. And I was like, okay, do I have to pay more? It's like, we don't have food anymore. We have to be out. It's like the owner is here. So again, with for example people in London, you have to ask specific questions, you have to go deep, you have to be very detailed, and no small talking vague kind of stuff. With Koreans, you have to give them time, and you have to give them space. Don't push. They don't need your deep questions. They will ask them themselves, but after they get used to one another. So if you're planning an event in South Korea, rent a venue for longer period of time. So not like from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. like I did. Give it like 12 hours or something. So yeah, that's
Right.
that's something that I could just think of right away.
And random question, I guess, what were you doing in South Korea?
Uh,
You just like,
I was
I want to
I was
go there."
I when it comes to my job, my strongest expertise is beauty industry because we were working with a lot of beauty brands in the States, in Europe, in Asia, and in South Korea they actually have a lot of skincare brands. And
Their skin looks
it's
great.
huh?
Their skin looks great.
Oh
The
my
Korean
god,
skin, like,
yes, and the
they know what
hair.
they're doing.
They know their stuff, yeah. And apparently, I was, I always thought that it's just skincare. They know something. No, they just have it. They don't even care about the skincare. They just have it naturally. I'm like, I was looking for the answer, and they were like, oh, it's my DNA. Okay,
God.
that's the answer. But okay, with South Korea, yeah, I just I understand. I realized that this is a huge market, And a lot of Korean brands, they wanna launch and expand overseas in the States, in Europe. So, and I could do that. I could help them. I've done that before for Chinese brands. Why not? And I cannot just start reaching out to companies and offering my service. So the best way to launch your business, especially mine, it's not, we're not cheap. So when you offer like a high ticket service, you have to keep in mind that, personal connection, building that, offline conversation is very important. So for me, I couldn't just, plan like, 30 meetings and just meet each person one by one. I would go crazy. So I decided to do this conference and just get everybody in the same room and, yeah, tell them what I'm made of. So yeah, that's what I did.
I like that. I like that. Unfortunately, we are wrapping up on time, so 2 more questions.
Unfortunately.
Amina, looking over your career, and this goes for, professional and personal. What do you feel like has been the best advice you ever received? And you can definitely ponder that for a second. It's kind of a
Yeah, there is one that I also pass to other people because recently some young students, and that's so touching to be honest, they started asking for advice. And I'm like, wow, I finally reached that point when people ask for like success advice. I'm like, wait, hold on a second. I'm not there yet, but I'm happy to share what I have learned. It's not something that I heard from others, but it's something that I had to learn in a hard way actually. Don't let anybody or anything define your goal. Set it for yourself, imagine it, visualize your goal in detail, and just go for it. Whatever it takes, don't get distracted because on your way to your goal, you will meet a lot of people who will make you doubt it. You will meet a lot of obstacles and a lot of situations that will make you think, oh, maybe my goal is too big. Maybe I'm being too delulu about this. No, be delulu. Be
you need to.
so big in your dreams that people will think that you're delusional. That's great. But don't let anybody touch your goal. Anything and anybody. It's untouchable. So that's something that I'm practicing myself, and nobody's allowed to touch my goal. No one. And don't let anybody do that for you as well.
If people don't call you crazy, you're not dreaming big enough.
I want that on my t-shirt.
So it sounds like a big manifester. Hats off to you. It's has done wonders in my life as well.
Likewise, it's my everyday routine in the morning and then when I go to bed, manifesting. That's also something that maybe I could recommend, but it's also something that you have to find and get to it yourself.
Yeah, we talked off camera earlier, and which is one of the reasons where I'm like, this shit is not gonna work. But you're essentially trying to change somebody's entire belief system if you go down that approach, and they have to come to that conclusion by
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah, that's why I don't include it in my advice.
Yeah.
Because it's a personal path, and if you find it, great. If you find something else that works for you, also great. So everybody
It's
has
one of
their
the
own path.
yeah, it's how I got sober. I mean, to be candid with you, it's how, like, I really cleaned up my act and, like, changed as a man. So, like, that shit worked in here. Anyways, Amina, where can they find you?
You can find me in the description under this video below. Check that description.
Love it.
I was working with a lot of influencers. Come on, I know how to say these things. You can also find me and my story and my agency story on the website influence-space.com. You can connect with me on that website. You can connect with my team, and you can see all the amazing stuff that we are doing. So yeah, I would be happy to see you all there.
Amina, thank you so much for joining us. It was a blast having you on.
Likewise, thanks everybody, and thank you, Jordan. You are special. Bye.